Good morning, everybody. Do a real quick update here on Bitcoin. I've still got my same pitchfork that I had up here yesterday, and it's still in the positive area, which is a good sign. Um, actually, I'm going to zoom in here and just kind of take a look at what I was analyzing. One of the things that I noticed is we were starting to see some higher highs and some higher lows as I was looking through the chart. I was looking at some lower time frame charts, and then right in the middle of going through this, I noticed that we had a surge in price that took us up to about $8,100. And when that happened, I quickly realized that we are in the process of forming a bear flag. So basically, what we have our downtrend, right, and that's come in several waves, and each time it's sort of bounced off of these Fibonacci retracement levels. We have um, a surge that bounced off of, again, this same fib level, came down, and it sort of hit this bottom. And this was, several hours ago. We hit about 77.50 or so, kind of stopped there. But with this most recent surge that took us up here to about 8100, 8120, this is, a clear indication for me that we are in the process of building this flag. And assuming that this holds, and it looks like it will, because this candle is now complete. I'm on the 1 hour chart. We see that it's starting to come down, which I expected it to do. We're reaching the apex of this. So for this next downtrend, unless it completely falls through, which is a possibility, probably looking at like 79.50, 79.60 for where this floor is going to be, assuming we follow the same trend, which it's broken out of. So I'm not sure how valid it can be at this point. So we've got this to look at. A couple other things while I have your attention. I just kind of want to take a look at some of the history of Bitcoin, because I think looking at the history helps us to make educated decisions based on prior trends. So when we're in a downtrend, you do tend to see a little bit of sideways movement, but once you start to look at the charts and start to see some of the longer term movements, you'll quickly realize if we're actually going to be correcting upward or correcting downward. And usually when you're in a down channel like this and you see this type of a formation, it more than likely means it's going to continue to go down. When you start to see these higher highs and lower or higher lows, and they're forming like this, but you can clearly see that there is a downtrend within that particular movement, chances are good at some point it's going to fall down. And this is where looking at this pitch fan can really help with this as well, because this will also help you to determine where the tip of the iceberg is going to be before it actually starts to correct and move its way down. You can see when we had our downtrend, it hit on the bottom point here on this pitch fan or pitchfork, and then we had some sideways movement, continuing to move upward very, very slowly. But once it touched this point, this is where we're looking for either a continued upward movement or a reverse. And that's what we saw, and we saw it in a very large way. And we saw a little bit of a flag here, but eventually it did fall through. Again, it fell down to this level. This time it only made it up to about the median point, because at this point the bulls are running out of steam. They saw this massive sell-off, so they're thinking to themselves, well, I'm going to stay out of the market. And then it came down, and this is when we hit about 73, 7400 a few days ago. And at that point, when it hit this bottom again on this pitchfork, this is where we saw money come back into the market. We saw it move upward, and we fast forward to sort of where we are today. We can definitely see on the pitchfork, we're following this downtrend here in the blue area. So what's going to happen next? Well, if we stay within this wedge that we have formed, then we're likely going to, go back and retest maybe 7,700, maybe slightly lower than that. Um, if we do break out of this, I don't see it going farther beyond 8,500. That's more than likely going to be our ceiling, at least for the time being. I do think we are going to be a bit sideways here for a while. Again, um, it's going to be a little boring. The market's not going to be very crazy for the time being, and that's okay, because we like for things to go into a squeeze and not be so volatile, because that is what gets, not necessarily big investors, but it does get people back into the market when they see things start to stabilize a little bit. But at this point, this is really what we're looking at. We're seeing this wedge, and we'll be taking a look at it over the next few hours, and just trying to see where things are going to be, ending up here at the end of the day. There is a chance that this wedge might change if we end up kind of going down a little further and then we see a bounce back. We may not be as close to the apex as we think we are, but based on the tips of the wicks that we have here on these candles, we do seem to be in line with them pretty well. So really what this is, it's the top point that we are, probably the most concerned with. We could be moving upwards like this, where the higher we go, the more bearish that we could be at that point. So we'll just leave it here for now, and I'm going to stick with about 78, 7,900 as our point where we could potentially fall through the wedge and move our way down to 7,700, 7,800. Okay, all right. Well, that was all for now. Hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And just a real quick announcement: we're working on a crypto scavenger hunt. So I've got a small group of people that are doing a trial run on a scavenger hunt where you're able to find some cryptocurrency out in the blockchain. And yeah, I think it's going to be really great. So some more on that here in the future. I'll be kind of giving more hints and things as we go. So if there's any other coin that you would like for me to give a real quick analysis on or take a look at, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm more than happy to take a look at things that I may not be paying attention to that you might be. So any comments are welcome. So have a good day, and I'll catch you guys later.